So we kind of just last minute here, we actually just wanted to film a really quick video. We literally just got done a bit of a meeting on UIG 4.0, a bunch of upgrades, a bunch of updates we're doing. And we're just kind of talking about like what's the most common mistakes that people are making that kind of holds them back from actually seeing success in DeFi and building a passive income portfolio. And it's like we really want to hit those issues up front and ensure that it doesn't happen to any one of our members, anyone in the UIG. And we thought we'd shoot a really quick YouTube video and just talk about some of those common mistakes when it comes to DeFi investing. Now, I think a lot of people are going to skip this video and say, I just want the next pool, which probably literally leads us into the first mistake, which is like people rush into stuff without a strategy, without even knowing what they're doing. And it blows my mind because you wouldn't do that in any other, you wouldn't really do that in real life. Yet for some reason, crypto DeFi just creates this massive FOMO. Colin, what do you got? What do you got to say to that? Common
Yeah,
mistakes.
definitely. I think the number one common mistake I see is just chasing yield. It's something that it's a term that we use, but basically that means that you're just getting into your investing inside of a liquidity pool or a DeFi position just because the projected return is really excitingly big, right? We see it all too often because I had an accelerator call, Lucas. I had an accelerator call, and I basically said, "What's the first thing we look at? What's the first thing you look at when you look at a DeFi position?" And all of them said APR. Almost
Yeah.
immediately, all of them said APR. And I said, "Very interesting. First thing I look at is what assets. What are the
Yep.
underlying assets that I'm investing in first? Then I will look at TVL and volume, projected returns, fees collected, fee tiers, and then it goes on and on and on, right? A lot of, and then we have a criteria, an entry criteria, a whole bunch of frameworks that we use to analyze these
Let us
positions.
know if you want
But it was
those on YouTube because you can just leave a
100%.
comment below and we'll probably create content around it.
100%. Yeah, but that first thing, and it was very interesting because this accelerator group is a group coaching program where these are intelligent investors. These are people that have
They're
been
not
in this
effing around.
space, right? Yeah, they're not effing around. And it was very interesting that almost immediately all of them said APR. And so that's the biggest mistake I see is getting into liquidity positions or DeFi positions solely based on the returns. Kind of a filter that I use, Lucas, just for myself is, and I've actually shared this, people love this, is I ask myself if the projected APR that it's showing me were to be cut in half next week, would I still want to be in this position? Now, some may
Yep.
say no because this is my target, and that's fine. But for me, what that filter, what that question does, is slows me down and says, am I chasing this yield? Am I just
Mm-hmm.
excited about the projected returns at this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I excited about the pair? Am I excited about the overall DeFi position? Because Lucas, the returns that we're going to get will fluctuate, right? Vast majority of the time,
Like
it's usually due
massively
to,
fluctuate, just so
yeah,
people know. Because it's just
because
tracking
it's
the most recent history of it.
exactly. It's all based on the volume. Usually, most dexes it's based on the trading volume. Other dexes have a different model where it's based on emissions and voting, a little bit more complex. But the majority, what I'm trying to communicate here is that volume is going to fluctuate, emissions rates are going to fluctuate, and so if the returns I'm projected to get gets cut in half, is this something I would still be in, or would I kind of panic and want to exit? So that's number one. And then just like a subsection of that is the underlying assets are the most, in my opinion, the most important thing of this whole equation because yes, you're investing in DeFi positions that return cash flow, that generate a return, but they're generating a return in that same token. And so if that token value drops, is this something that you would want to hold? And that's just the most common mistake I see is I'll go to like the portfolio review section, the UIG, and I'll go like, oh, I've never heard of this asset. Let me ask said investor what this asset is. And you'll be surprised. A lot of people, oh, I don't actually
Don't
know.
know. Yeah.
Okay. Let's learn about that asset. Let's figure out why you were investing in it. Then soak up the juicy returns if all of that's in alignment. So Lucas, that's number one. Number one.
I
Um,
think
this,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
what
add
do you got?
I'm gonna add one little thing if I can
Yeah.
for number two is um financial education slash relationship with money is really really funky and it's unconscious, and we see that a lot. Is to go from employee or regular world, how we're trained, how we're brought up, to all of a sudden investing and having our money make us money. It's a whole new world. It's a whole new. We may read about it and understand it intellectually, but emotionally, we're not yet there. And so we bite off more than we can chew, or we dive into something and then markets turn, something happens, we see a little red in our portfolios, we freak out. We're just, we make extremely poor decisions because we just haven't mastered or caught up to or just put the time in for kind of a financial education, investor IQ, investor EQ, and just becoming an investor, which is why I'm so big in the identity work, and it's why we have Monday mindset calls every day. And I'm still a student, by the way. I'm not perfect, but it's like constant tune up every single week to ensure that we're at least being conscious and aware. So to me, that would literally be the biggest one. And for many people, it's subconscious, and they wonder why they keep effing themselves financially over and over. They'll blame external circumstances, but I mean, we're the creator of our own reality, and so it's all internal, as within, so without, inside out. As much as we hate admitting that, oftentimes.
Absolutely, 100%. In fact, can I add a bonus? Can I add a
Yes, let's
third
do it.
one I just thought about? It's just no strategy prior to entry.
Mm,
So again, this is a bit more DeFi, but you can also use it just kind of in your regular life as
same
well.
stuff.
And generally, the gamblers out there will be the first to admit this, right? Is I'm just kind of putting. I have actually a stack of chips here, Lucas. I love using these my metaphors and stuff, but it's
You do.
basically what I see this all too often in DeFi is they take their stack of chips or capital, they put it into a place and go, okay, awesome, now what, right? And it's like, well, what's your strategy, right? What are you trying to do with it? What are you trying to accomplish? What's your like in what we call like an in position management strategy? Like what are you doing with the rewards that you're earning, right? Are you compounding it back in? Are you converting it back to fiat and funding lifestyle?
And
Are you
why?
and why are you putting it in your bull run bag? There's so many, there's like a dozen things that you could do with those rewards, but without having that clarity of that strategy prior to enter, you'll fall to a lot of emotional reactivity, right? And so that's the for me this third, I guess, so the third biggest mistake that I see is not having that strategy laid out for every position. That's another thing too, Lucas, is that you can have an overarching string. Here's my strategy for what I'm trying to do, but then it's like, okay, in these six positions that you're in, we need to have a strategy for every single one of them so that when you start accumulating rewards in ETH and USDC, it's like, okay, well, what am I doing? Right? What am I doing with those rewards? So, anyways, that's the biggest mistakes I see is chasing yield, not having that solid foundation in terms of education. And then number three there is not having that strategy before you deposit capital in there. So just slow down a little bit is my biggest piece of advice.
I'll add a fourth, and I'll make this one
Sure.
really quick, is doing it alone. And I know some people might be watching that and say, well, of course you say that because you sell a community, or that's what you sell. Do not join us. It's totally okay. We'd love to have you, but there's a lot of other communities, or even just like friends you're doing it with, or just people. I think doing anything alone is a recipe for a disaster, or it's much harder to do. So like every time I'm trying to change something, like I'm becoming a dad soon, and guess what I did? I joined groups where there's like fathers and men who have gone through it, so I can be held accountable to becoming the dad and the person I know I want to be. And to do it alone, I'll find 1,001 excuses not to do the work, and I'll just do something else, take the car for a drive, be like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow, push it off. And I'm extremely disciplined. But when I'm in community, it's like, oh, I know every Monday I've got this thing, and I'm not going to show up empty handed. And so, like, community to me is probably the one most important. You will be the people that you're surrounded by. And most of us are surrounded by, for lack of a better term, losers, especially when we're first getting up out of our hole. Like, not bad people, but like we're losers because everyone's losing, and that's okay. But once you start surrounding yourself with winners, not that we're better or worse, you start winning. If you want to get in shape, just be around 5, 6 ripped people and you will become in shape. It'll just become your standard. If you want to become wealthy or become an investor, just surround yourself with investors who talk investors, talk, and they talk about money openly, and they're not afraid to talk about net worths, P&Ls, money, burn, whatever. So to me, it's community. It is why we built what we built, but that's not to say you have to join ours. But if you don't have community, I would highly recommend joining something, being in community, and paying money for it. Don't do free. At least in my experience, free is usually um, pretty low quality, of course, because people have to get paid to run something. In fact, I always think about it when I'm paying someone to help me. I really want them to be paid well, so they're not stressed about money, so they can devote all their time and energy into actually helping me instead of wondering if they're going to make their business work the next month. So I don't mind paying the premium to ensure that that person is fed. So the energy I get back is high and not from fear, lack. People try to chip out. I'll just get a deal on getting my floor redone, and it's like now you have someone who's probably broke because they're giving everyone deals and they're rushing the job and worrying about money. I'd rather pay someone really well to do my floor or to help me psychologically or mentally or financially. So I know that when they're here, they're present with me, and their belly is fed. So that's that. I hope this helped. Did something land? If so, leave it in the comments, like this video, subscribe to this channel. We're doing a video per day, sometimes more. I'm looking to do 2 to 3 videos per day as we kind of build out our team, UIG 4.0. We got a lot of exciting stuff happening, so stay tuned for that. But if you did like this video, like it, subscribe, and check out some other videos that we'll put on the four corners of our screen. And with that said, thanks for joining. See.